This is the Roulette Master. I just received an incredible email from a guy named Don, and he said he makes a living playing roulette with this strategy. That is unbelievable. I can't wait to see if he's right. And he calls this the life changer. And man, we're going to get into it today, but we're going to put it in a head-to-head matchup first with an incredible roulette system, which is going to be 7 streets. I'm going to share with you how to play this, how to make money with it in the casino, and then we'll get to that new system of the day by Dawn. This should be awesome, and let's get started. So we're going to start with 7 streets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Just like that. And let's go ahead and spin. I'll share with you the progression and how this system works. And here we go. That's a 10 black. All right, that's a nice $25 win to start. And we're just going to rebet and spin that. And at any time, we can move these 7 streets around, and we'll probably do that. But the progression is going to be the key. And that's a 30 red. And we missed that one. So when we lose with this system, we're going to double. And then we're going to add $5 to each of these bets. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we're at 105 total bet. And let's spin. Okay, that's a 17 black. That's a $75 win. We're already up 65 bucks. We're going to drop back to our original $35 bet. That's because there's 5 on each of the 7 streets. And let's go ahead and spin. And after this one, if we get a win, we'll probably move them around a little. That's a 3 red. But we actually got a loss, so we're going to go ahead and keep them where they're at. And we're going to double and add a unit. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now they're at 15 each. And you can also do this with dollar units. I'm going to give you the bankroll for both as we go through here. If that's too much, you can always, if you play automated, that's probably the way to do it is with dollar units. But we're going to use $5 units today. We're going to double this up, and then we're going to add a unit. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we're at 245 total bet. Let's go ahead and get a win right here. That's a 33 black. And that's a loss. So a lot of losses in a row here. We're going to double up again and add a unit. So I bet we get the win on this one. Let's find out. And this is a 525 total bet. This is a $2,000 bankroll system for $5 units. So you can divide that by 5 if you want to use dollar units. And that's a $375 win. We're up $55. You can see we had a little bit of a setback there, and that's okay because we're going to get a lot of wins at base level. And here we go. The only time you have setbacks is if you have a bunch of losses in a row. But as you can see, it was very little. And that's a 10 black. Okay, we lost that one. Let's double that up and add a unit. Most of your profit's going to be from getting wins early in the progression. And let's go ahead and spin. And here we go. Okay, that's an 8 black. And we lost again. We're going to need to double up again and then add a unit. So we're just not putting them in the right place this time, but that's okay. It'll start to turn in our favor here pretty soon, and then we'll make a lot of cash. And that's an 11 black. We missed it again. So very unlucky, but it happens. We're going to double and add a unit. And just because we're not starting off good here, that's okay. Because once things start to click, we're going to make a lot more. And let's just get the recovery here and get back to base level. That's a 32 red. And that's a good one there. So now we're only at 45. It dropped us back a few dollars. But again, that's okay. Because with this system, you're going to make a lot of money in the early stages. And we just haven't done that yet. But we're going to probably see that now. Let's find out. That's a 31 black. Okay, we lost. And it's not that abnormal to lose the first one. Usually you'll get the wins, and we're doubling and adding a unit. A lot of times you'll get your win on the second or third spin, and then you're going to be doing great. So let's go ahead and do that and spin. That's a 34 red. And we lost that one, so let's double up and add a unit. This is definitely safer if you play with dollar units, but there's a lot more that you can make doing it this way. Because we're at 245 total bet. Let's go ahead and spin. That's a 36 red. Man, we just keep on losing with this one. So we're going to double up and add a unit again. Here we go. And let's go ahead and spin. All right. That's a 14 red. It's a 375 win. We're up 35. And now let's try to get some wins at base level. My goodness. So let's go ahead and put these back out there and spin. And here we go. That's a 17 black. And finally, we got a win at base level. Now you should start seeing the profits really grow if we can get some wins at base level or on the first loss or second loss. And that's a 10 black. Now you're seeing some rewards, and now we're up 85. So it just started out really slowly, and let's finish strong. All right, here we go. That's a 29 black. And we lost that one. But again, we'll probably get a win on this next one and grow the profit even more. So let's double and add a unit and spin. All right, I think we'll get a win right here. And let's find out. That's a 19 red. Good. Things are starting to turn in our favor. Now we're up 125 bucks. So let's go ahead and pick some different ones here. We're going to have 7 of them. Again, 5 each. So that's $35 total. And let's go ahead and spin. That's a 5 red. Okay, we missed it, but that's okay. We'll probably get the next one. Let's double up and add a unit. And I know we started off really bad, but now we're starting to click. And that dropped us back to 90 temporarily. But if we get a win here, we'll add profit to our total. And that's a 1 red. We lost that one. So we're going to need to double and add a unit. So let's do that. Okay, now we're at 35 each. And we're just being patient until we get that nice little run so we can cash out. And that's a 00. We definitely don't want that. So let's double up and add a unit again. And again, when you get this high with the bets, it does set you back just a little bit. But we'll get it right back. Let's just get the win right here and get on track. And again, this is a $2,000 bankroll system. So if we had lost that one, we could have made another bet. We're up $115 now. Let's go back to 7 streets. Okay, and let's go ahead and spin. So not the best luck so far, but again, we're waiting for a nice little run so that we can cash out. And if you get wins at base level, that really is important. We're up 140. Let's rebet and spin. And we should be able to get on to, a run where we get 3 or 4 wins in a row at some point. And that's a 4 black. That's another win. And now we're up 165, and you're starting to see how good this can get if you get on a nice little run at base level. That's a 16 red. And I think we are getting on that run now. That's 3 in a row. Now we're up $190. And so again, these wins at base level really build your profits. And that's a 10 black there. And then now would be a good time to cash out. We're up $215. But we're going to keep playing for the full 15 minutes. So you can see how this does over the long haul, whether it, gets in trouble and busts, or if, it keeps doing better. And that's a loss. Let's go ahead and double up and add a unit. So here we go. But I like, I like to get up and then get out and declare victory. And that's the way I play. That's a 34 red. Okay, that's a loss. We'll double that up and add a unit. Here we go. And now we're at 245 total bet. Okay, let's get the win right here. That's a 30 red. I think we lost that one. So, man, these bets have got high more than I thought they would. And, again, it'll give us a small setback if we get the win here. But let's just get a win so that we can keep our bankroll. It's a $2,000 bankroll system. Again, you can divide that by 5 if you want to use dollar bets. So let's go ahead now, and you can see we have $1,300 left in the bankroll, so we can only double one more time and add a unit one more time. So let's do that, and let's hope we get the win here, or we're going to be in trouble, guys. So we need a good win right now. That's a 13 black. We got the win, but it dropped us all the way back to $80. So you see, if you get in a lot of trouble, this system will set you back a little bit. So that's also why it's so important to cash out when you're up, $200 or $300. Just cash out and declare victory. Don't wait for something bad to happen with this system. But let's get some wins at base level again and build it back up. We're up 105. So this system cycles, and you want to cash out as soon as it cycles up. Again, we're just playing for the full 15 minutes so that you can see the ups and downs and know what the risks are. We're up 130. Let's rebet and spin. And again, this would be safer with dollar units. You could take that $2,000 bankroll and divide that by 5 and have a $400 bankroll, and just use dollar units with a $7 starting bet. And I would definitely recommend that for automated. Okay, so let's see, and that's because the amount that you can bet is not as much with automated. So you'd want to start with that $7 starting bet, and that's a 36 red. And we're going to double up and add a unit. Okay, but again, this one cycles. It really rewards you for getting wins early, and then sets you back just a little bit if the wins come really late. And there's benefits to either way you do that. That's a 14 red, and that's a 175 win. We're up $165. Let's go ahead and let's do a little different pattern this time. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then let's put a 7th one right there. Again, you can put these wherever you want, and let's spin. Okay, that's a 2 black, and we missed that one, so we're going to double up and add a unit. So let's do that. And again, there's always 7 of them out here with this one. And this is a system you want to get up and get out, not one that you want to play all day long. Okay, that's an 8 black. Okay, and that's a loss. We're going to double and add a unit. So let's do that. And hopefully we'll get a win here so we can add some more profit. And if we don't get a win here, we'll get back to just trying to get back to base level, and that's an 18 red. But we got the win. That's a 175 win. We're up $200, and let's pick another 7. Oh, one too many there, and spin. If you see a $40, you probably added one too many, because there's 5 on each of those 7, and that's a 0. So that's a loss. We're going to double and add a unit. Okay. Okay, so this covers 21 numbers. I see some systems that have 18 numbers that double and add a unit, and that makes more profit. But this one gives you 3 more numbers, so you have a little bit better chance of not running into a buzzsaw with this one. But let's go ahead and double and add a unit. But again, normally, and that wasn't normal. There isn't really a normal in roulette, but normally you'd get more wins than we got early. And the good thing is we got up over a good amount a few different times so far. So over 200, and that's when you want to cash out and declare victory, just like those shirts and hats at the roulettemaster.com. And I love wearing those just to remind myself, because we've all done it before. And what I mean by that is we have all been up and then lost the amount that we're up, and then lost even more. And usually those are the days that you lose a lot. This is our final attempt on this one. We need the win right here. And that's a 10 black. And we got the win, but you see it set us back to 65 again. So again, this is why you want to cash out with this one when you're up $200 or $300. And you can get on a nice little run, cash out, and be good to go. And that's a 2 black. Okay. As long as you get the win in the early stages, you're going to be adding profit to this one. So we'll double and add a unit again. And let's hope we get the win right here. So before we cash out, we can get it back up, cycle it back up again. Okay, that's a 30 red. And we lost again, so we're going to have to double up again and add another unit. And I would recommend for most of you that play automated to use dollar units and a $400 bankroll here. And that way you don't have to make those massive bets, and the bankroll is much more achievable. And that's a 12 red, 175 win. We're up $100, and let's go back to our original $35 bet, and you can move them if you want to. Let's keep them the same on this one and see if we can go on a little run here right at the end. Okay, that's a 7 red. Okay, there's a good win. We're up 125. Let's get a little bit of a roll going here before we get to that new system of the day. That's a 28 black. And that's a loss. So we're going to double up and add a unit. And again, as long as you get it in the early stages, you're adding profit. It does cycle backwards if you have too many losses. So that's a 9 red. That's a good win. We're up 165 now. And let's go back to 35, and this will be our final spin. We're right at the 15-minute mark. And again, this is one you don't want to play all day. This is one you want to get up and cash out. Okay, we're up $190 and after 15 minutes. And let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you think that's too risky. Let me know if you would use it with dollar units or if you wouldn't use it at all. I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments as usual. And now it's time for this new roulette system of the day. I can't wait to share this with you. He says he makes a living with this system. So I can't wait to see how this does, and let's just get started. Here we go. All right, I'm excited to share with you the Life Changer Roulette system by Don. He says he makes a living playing with this system, but he says you have to follow the rules and know when it's time to cash out, and we'll cover everything now and get started. This is a system that uses corner bets, and we're going to start with 6 of them right now, and that's a $30 bet. So let's go ahead and spin. And the key is not what you do when you lose, it's what you do when you win. And that's an 18 red. Okay, and we lost that first one. So we're going to double up from 30 to 60 and spin. And here we go. Let's see what we get on this one. That's a 5 red. And that's a $30 win. And you see we're not in profit. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this one right here that just hit. And then spin again at $50 total bet. All right, let's see what we get here. It's going to be really important with this system to, monitor your levels of profit. You can see now we're up $40, and that means we're going to reset back to base levels. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see, we need to just put them back out there again. So here we go. Every time we're in new profit, we're going to reset. Again, we're at $40 already, $30 base level bet here. And let's spin. That's a 5 red. And that's 2 5s in the last 3 spins. So we're up $55. And let's go ahead and spin again. All right, again, $30 total bet. And here we go. That's a 10 black. Okay, that's a $30 loss. So remember, we were up 55. That's going to be important. So we're going to double up and spin. And remember, we were up $55. So here we go. That's a 25 red. And that's a win. We are up 55, so we go ahead and reset. With this one, if you're even with or in new profit, you reset. And it's all about safety. And let's get back to that original $30 bet and spin. 5 on each. And it's also going to be important when you cash out with this one. We'll go over all of that, and that's a $15 win. We're in new session profit at 70, so we're going to go ahead and stay right there. And spin. That's a 4 black. $15 win. That's new session profit at 85. We're going to rebet and spin. All right, here we go. That's a 16 red. Another win at 15. We're up 100. We'll just rebet and spin. There's a lot more to this, but I will tell you, once he gets up 250, that's his daily amount that he lives off of, and he cashes out. Okay, so we'll get to all the rest of it, though. The progression is going to be really key. We're going to double up to 30 to 60 and spin after that loss, and here we go. That's a 10 black. Okay, so we need to look at this. We lost at 30 and we lost at 60. So 30 plus 60 is 90. We were up $100. So don't forget that. We're going to double up now. Okay, so we were at 100 profit. Keep that in mind, and here we go. That's a 20 black. Okay, $60 win. We're not in session profit or even with session profit. So we're going to go ahead and take this one out. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and spin, and here we go. Okay, that's a 7 red, and that's a loss. So again, remember where we were at. We're going to double up after that loss and spin. And now we only have 5 of them out there instead of 6, so we should get a bigger win. That's a 12 red. It's a $160 win. Now we're in new session profit at $130, and we're going to restart. So let's just put those bets back out there again. And here we go. And let's go ahead and spin. And remember, we're at 130 profit, so we're just trying to get, when we recover, we try to get back to that or better. Okay, and that's a $15 win. New session profit at 145. Okay, let's spin. And again, once we get to $250 profit, he cashes out, and that's his daily money that he uses to live off of. So that's a $30 loss. And so remember, we were up 145. We're going to double up and spin. And here we go. All right, let's see what we get on this one. That's a 30 red. We lost, so we're going to go ahead and double that up again. We're still at 6, so we have a good chance of hitting this. And let's see what we get here. That's a 10 black. We lost again, but bankroll is going to be key, which we'll go over here in a second now that we're having all these consecutive losses. And here we go. That's a 7 red, and we have a bunch of losses in a row now. So we're going to go ahead and double up from 240 to 480 and spin. And let's see what we get here. That's an 11 black. And we finally got a win, but you see we're not in session profit anymore. So we're going to take that one out. And now that we're down to just 5, we should see a much larger payout. And let's get a win right here. We still have nice coverage. That's a 14 red. And that's a $320 win. Now we're in new session profit at 255, and this is where Don cashes out. But we're going to keep playing for the full 15 minutes so you can see how this works long term and over a long period of time. But remember that he cashes out after he gets to 250 profit each day. Okay, and he says he can do that because he doesn't report that $250 as income, so he doesn't pay taxes on it. So let me know what you think of that down in the comments as well. We're up $270, and let's go ahead and spin. Also, let me know if you know any stories you'd like to tell about the way people deal with their hand pays and paying taxes on wins and things like that. So we're up 285. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of good stories to tell about stuff like that. And I've definitely seen people win massive payouts and not report anything. And then I've seen other people that don't win a whole lot that report it. So we're up $300. We're in, obviously a new session profit. Let's go ahead and spin. That's a 36 red. That's a $15 win there. We're up $315, and let's spin. My wife makes sure I turn everything in, and she keeps me honest and makes sure I turn in all my slips from the casinos and everything like that. We're up $330, but I know not everybody does that. And let's see what we get here. That's a 5 red, and that's a $15 win. I'm up $345. Another thing to put in the comments too is because I report all that, I have to write every expense I have for my business and gambling off. So I can help you out with that if you have questions about that as well. Let's double and spin. So any money that I spend in Las Vegas or any trip that we take to gamble, I write off those expenses, and that does help. So we're up $345. Let's see. So yep, we can go back to base level now, and let's do that. Here we go. So anytime you get a new profit, just reset. And so if you get a win, you don't have to peel anything off at base level, because every time you win, you'll be in new profit. And here we go. That's a 24 black. And we're up 360. And if you have a channel on YouTube, anything you spend on, on your, whether it's cameras or lighting or whatever, you can write that stuff off as well. But the cool thing is everywhere we go to a casino, even if, it's a regular vacation. We always go somewhere that there's a casino, so that number one, so we have fun, but number two, so that we can write everything off that we spent. And most of the stuff is free, but you're always going to have some expenses, whether it's getting around or food and stuff like that. So, okay, we lost that one. Let's double up and spin. And here we go. And that's a 10 black. And that's a $60 loss. We're going to double up. And this is a $2,000 bankroll system. You can obviously play this with at 1/5 that at $400 if you want to use dollar units. So if you play automated, you can definitely do that. And we're up 345. That's close to where we were at before. So let's reset. And the more that you get up, the more you can be conservative. But just remember that Don cashes out at 250 every day. He would not be continuing to play like this, but the reason we're doing it, that's what we do on the channel, is test longer term to see what happens if you do play longer. And we're up 360. So usually a system that has a lot of flaws, after a lot of spins will eventually show some kinks in its armor. So that's why we do that. And we're up 375. Let's rebet and spin. Also tell me where you guys like to go. Obviously, I go to Vegas a lot, but I'm planning a trip to somewhere a little different here in December. Probably going to go to Scottsdale. So let's go ahead and let's double that up and spin. And here we go. I think we're going to go to the Talking Stick Resort in Scottsdale in December, but I still haven't completely made my mind up yet. So let me know if you have played there. And we're up 375. We're back to where we were before. So let's just drop back to 30 and spin. And here we go. And let's see what we get on this one. That's a 13 black. $15 win. We're up 390. Each time you win at base level, you're going to be in profit. And let's see what we get here. That's a 15 black. But keep track of where you're at, because we were up 390. So keep that in your mind. And we're going to double up and spin. We'll try to get back to 390 or greater before resetting. And that's a 12 red. Okay, that's a $30 win. We're back up to 390. So we can go ahead and reset back to 30. You don't have to be in new profit. You just have to at least be back to profit before resetting. And back to where you were before you lost, if that makes sense. So let's double up and spin. Remember, we were at 390. And a lot of times when you recover with this one, you're going to make more than just getting back to base level. Okay, that's a $30 win. We're back up to 390. So a lot of times, when you really add to this is when you've had multiple losses and then you recover, then you see it really jump up, but also getting wins at base level. So let's go back to 30 and get some more wins at base level and keep adding to our profit. All right, here we go. That's a 6 black. And we lost that one. So let's double up and spin. And here we go. That's a 33 black. We got the win. So that gets us back to where we were at 390. Let's go back to 30. And again, when you get up a lot, you can be a little more conservative. In the beginning, you might want to take a few risks, like Don does sometimes, to achieve new session profit each time, and that's fine as well. But I would recommend with a system like this, and he said this also in the email, that and let's double up now, that once you're up a lot and you're obviously he walks at 250, but once you're up a lot, you can play a little more conservative. And once you're back at base level, you can just, or back to where you were before, you can just reset. So play smart. And he says that's what he does. But he also, that makes sense to me that he gets in and gets out, because that's what I've been doing lately. Let's go ahead and double up and spin. And let's see if we can get a win here. We have nice coverage. And that's a 30 red. We lost again. This is why we have the $2,000 bankroll, because you can see now all of a sudden, we need to get a win in the next 2 spins with the $2,000 bankroll. But remember, you can play this with the $400 bankroll and dollar units. Okay, now that's a win. And we are nowhere near session profit. But if we take this one out right here that we just hit and get a win, it's going to really pay. And we still have nice coverage. We still have 20 numbers covered. So let's get a win right here. And that's a 27 red. But we didn't get it. So now all of a sudden we're minus 220. We can only double one more time, and we need to get the win right here. This is going to be a big one. If we lose this, we're going to have lost. We won't have lost our bankroll, but we'll have lost half of it. So this is a really big spin right here. And usually it doesn't go this far, but that's why we play long term on this channel. And you can see what happened. We hit a 0. So that's really bad. So all we can do now at this point is rebet and spin. We can't, you can see we don't have enough to double again. So this is why Don walks when he's up 250 every day. And that's a 9 red. Okay, that's a $640 win. But you see we're still right there at minus 380. So this is where it gets tricky. I mean, you don't really want to pull that the 8, 9, 11, 12 off at this point, since we weren't able to follow the system all the way through there. We're at minus 380. So I wouldn't recommend going through what you would normally do, what Don says, because we couldn't place that next bet. So I would just go back, if that happens, I would just go back to the 6. So let's do that. Let's add 160 back over here. Okay, let's try that. Because we don't want to actually reduce bets if the bet's this large. Let's just get a win right here at 960. Here we go. Oh my goodness, and then we hit the 0. Okay, well that last thing I did there was not what Don does. And we only have 700 left. We'd have to pull that one back off that lost. I mean that one back there. And then that would get us, we wouldn't quite have enough there. So let's see, the 9 hit, the 27, and then the 36. So we would have to take this one off also. And we'd have to take a big risk at this point. Okay, but again, that's why he gets in and gets out. Okay, let's go ahead and spin with just those out there and see if we can get a win. But that's, again, not the way Don does it. We just did that at the end because we weren't able to place the correct amount. We're at minus 540 now. And then at this point, you wouldn't want to remove anything again. I would probably just go back to the 6 again at 160 each. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see what happens. Let's play around with this. So let's go, let's go back to the 160 each. And again, this is just making a little bit of a modification here because we weren't able to follow the system all the way through. And that's a 10 black. And then that's, see, that's a 960 loss. You'd only have 500 left. So at that point, you'd have to just pull everything off on recent numbers. And let's see. Let's pull that one off. And then we have the 14. The 9 has hit recently. We'll pull that off. And again, this is not with the system because we couldn't place that final bet. So we have 500 left in the bankroll. We'd have to pull another one off. And then, but this is going to be a huge risk if we do this. So I don't recommend probably doing this, but we're going to try it just to see what happens, since we got in this predicament here with all those losses. Okay, so we just have a 580 total bet out there, and with 12 numbers. So let's see if we can get lucky here and get a win. Okay, that's an 8 black. And we didn't get it. So basically that way you would lose your bankroll. But remember, he doesn't play until he loses. He plays until he gets up 250 and walks with this system. But again, on this channel, we keep going and see what happens long term. And then we did eventually get into trouble with some zeros. And keep that in mind when you're playing. And if that's too much for you, play with dollar units and a $400 bankroll instead of a $2,000 bankroll. But let me know down in the comments if you like this system and if you would use it. and he definitely loves it. And he says he gets in, gets out with his 250 every day. Let me know what you think of that statement as well. It's definitely a good system, but obviously it can lose if you play long enough. So just would love to hear from you guys as usual. And keep sending those systems into roulettemaster.c@gmail.com. That's roulettemaster.c@gmail.com. Every single day we keep searching for the best roulette system possible, and I really enjoy that. I hope you guys do as well. And if you do, please like, share, and subscribe. And let's keep growing this community of people that absolutely love roulette. And this is the Roulette Master. And have a great day, everybody.